WTF? 2 Fedczuks.
2 Fedczuks? It's a lot of Fedczuks right here.
We're talking about Hearthstone, so at least you can't accuse me of being here because of nepotism.
Did someone play Mirror Entity? Is that?
You know what,
God.
Walter? I would love to see you with a full beard like that. I think
don't.
that should be the next goal for this podcast.
No. I can't.
Hashtag Walter Beard.
I can't go like 4 days without shaving just because it gets itchy, and I've always been jealous of your beard, Alex. Like I've always been jealous of your ability to grow facial hair, but I'm just itchy. It's like I have the DTs. But I suppose we should actually introduce him because I don't think anybody's ever met him before. I thought you were
jealous of his sick Hearthstone skills, which is why we invited him on. Because this is the guy that whenever I start tweeting about how Hearthstone's pissing me off, he has a response, and I can actually talk to him about this. So when I knew that, the new expansion's coming out, probably today when you're listening to this, maybe it's not out yet, maybe it's just been released, but I mean, we got to talk about it. We've got new mechanics. We've got this whole tri-class thing. I've already dropped my pre-release money, so I got to hope that all these cards work out. Alex, on a scale of 1 to 10, where's your hype? Just to measure how much excitement we're bringing to this podcast.
It varies based on, I don't know, what time of day it is and which cards I'm thinking about.
Yeah.
Looking at like the entire set list as a whole, definitely excited. I have yet to give Blizzard my blood money, so I guess I need to do that today before I can no longer cash in on 50 packs.
Yeah.
So I'll do that before I go to bed, and then I get to wake up tomorrow, I get to raid with my guild, and then when we're done, I get to open 50 packs and be even more disappointed.
Yeah.
So I made a mistake, and I'm going to point it out. So this is my brother Alex, not Baconfoot Fedczuk. This is Alex Neavas Fedczuk. For some reason, I still thought your Twitter handle was Baconfoot.
I changed it today because I figured at some point I changed it today because I figured at some point I'm gonna have to say it.
Because your Skype said it as well when you friended me. So what are you now? You're not Baconfoot. We've lost Baconfoot.
What?
I like to imagine there's a forest filled with meats that Baconfoot just wanders around.
No,
like
it's actually an old Nickelodeon cartoon reference.
Oh,
is it really?
Yeah.
I forgot where you got the name from.
It's the show with the 3 cats that inherited all the old lady's money.
Like, comment, subscribe if you know what he's talking about, because I have no idea.
I don't remember what that show was
Just
called.
like Google Mr. Blick. That should tell you everything.
Oh,
Waffle,
okay.
Mr. Blick.
God.
There's the Scottish cat.
That sounds like a thing that I'm glad I forgot. But
yeah, it was like this huge.
Cat
It was like this
Scratch!
huge.
Oh my god, I remember this show. Cat Scratch.
It was like this
okay.
huge drawn-out insult that ended with Baconfoot. I'm like, that's hilarious. That's gonna be my name from now on. And now it's not.
Okay.
I want to say this is the best Hearthstone analysis on any of the podcasts I've heard so far.
I would agree.
Like I said, it depends on the card we're talking about.
So what are you now? What are you now, Alex?
I am at BMNeavas.
BMNeavas. Okay. Well, let's see what BM we're going to be delivering with the first set, right? Where are we starting, Walter?
Well, okay, so we're starting. We're looking at main Streets of Gadgetzan, which is the new Hearthstone expansion that is, like Chase said, coming out probably as you're actually listening to this. So we're gonna start with we're gonna divide this up by the gangs and then talk about each class underneath the gangs. And our first gang is the Grimy Goons, led by Don Han Cho. But Chase, you in particular wanted to talk about the lesser of the 2 cards under this kind of interesting health and damage mechanic in their hand. So what can you tell me about Grime Street Smuggler? What are your thoughts on this mechanic as a whole?
I mean, Grime Street Smuggler more serves to show just the basic what we're expecting from these 3 classes. It's a very interesting direction that they've gone to because, the biggest criticism of Hearthstone recently is that it's basically curve stone. On turn 1 you play your 1-drop, turn 2 you play your 2-drop, and you're just supposed to kind of curve out, and that's the ideal situation. That's why Secret Paladin was so strong,
right?
And why it is still super strong in Wild. And I am one of those dirty Secret Paladin players, so sorry, not sorry.
I actually hate you.
Aside from the fact that you're playing Wild.
Yeah, I mean, look, It's fine. Everything's fine. But these decks, I find this mechanic interesting because it kind of allows you to curve away from that to a certain extent. If you're buffing up all of the cards in your hand, which some other cards will allow you to do, then, playing a 1-drop and a 3-drop could potentially be more value than just a 4-drop. And so it encourages a different way of evaluating which card is giving you the most value on a turn-by-turn basis, just based on which card got the buffs. Obviously, it's random minions in your hand most of the time, which is a little bit off-putting because when it's random, it means it could go to, let's say for whatever reason you're running a Doom. You wouldn't really want a Doomsay or anything like that, but let's say you're running, a purposeful, anti-zoo card, and that's the one that gets the buff. It's like, well, that's not necessarily as helpful as if I'm trying to push for damage and you put it on my damage dealer. So there are obviously going to be problems like that, but it's just, to me, it's a mechanic that has gotten a little bit too much flack from the community because, it's boring, it's just stats. Well, stats are good. Stats are how you win. You win by getting the enemy health to 0, and at least now it's better than just every turn having like, this is the card I have at the mana cost that's available, so that's what I play, which is what too many decks, I think, have turned into. Where do you land, Alex? What do you think of the Grimy Goons?
I mean, sure, ball of stats, whatever. It's not as boring as I think the Cabal is, but we'll talk about them in a second. I know, shots fired. But like you said, Grimy Smuggler really just serves as this is the baseline. This is what you can expect most of our cards to try and accomplish in varying degrees of success. I come down a little bit harder on the mechanic, just because looking at Grimy Smuggler, it's a 2/4. And I think that we've established at this point for 3 mana, you want to be getting around 3/4 of stats. That's what Spider Tank was, and that seemed to be the bar. It was be better than this or don't be played. So it seems like a lot of the Grimy Goons cards, as far as the hand-holding mechanic, is that they're negative tempo, which means that they're not exactly great plays on their own. So you kind of set yourself back in small increments, and then you drop your super buffed 1-mana creature and some other stuff and try and regain all the negative
your
tempo.
1/1 boar with charge.
Yeah, exactly. you're on turn 8 after you drop Don on a Han Sho, you play your 1-mana 6/6 charge and you murder him with it.
That was my question. For the record. That was actually going to be my question: is how much value does this sort of hand holding give to haste cards or cards that give haste? Does that now make, in this sort of gang, does it make them more valuable, or because of that random aspect to it, is it still
I mean, first of all, the word you're looking for is charge.
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 Yes, charge.
Which I have way more experience in, but
yeah, that's a different podcast.
Let's put it this way: I'm not putting Stone Tusk Boar in my deck.
No.
Really?
Okay. No, never. No,
dude,
no
you gotta play for that boar control though. But honestly, I mean, what you're going to be looking at, right, is, you look at the 2/4 that you see with the Grimy Goons. Is that going to get played? Probably not, because if you look, what can you play for 2/4? Well, you can play Brand Bronzebeard and get double the hand buffing, from every other card after that for the same amount of stats on the board. So some of these cards are not going to get played. But the key is, is a lot of charge going to come through? Maybe Dragon Warrior, like Alex Strauss's champion getting the charge. That's something that is reliably procced, and you could look at it maybe. But honestly, charge is not where these classes are going. That charge has been something that's been pretty heavily nerfed for this very reason. And in these classes in particular, you might run Leroy as a finisher. And if Leroy gets a 5/5 buff, then your enemy might have some problems. But I don't think that it's going to be anything other than what would traditionally already be in that kind of deck as a finisher.
Totally fair. Leroy Jenkins, a couple of the cards we're probably going to talk about later are great candidates for this mechanic. It's certainly a build around me thing. I mean, a couple of them are probably good enough that you can casually play, like Don Honcho, for example. Alex Strauss's champion, I think Dragon Warrior's too tight a list to fit some of this stuff in, but Korokron Elite is certainly an excellent candidate for a 5/5.
God, Face Warrior is gonna be so dangerous with some of the other cards. We'll get to Warrior first.
Yeah,
let's move on.
Alex,
let's get to it.
Is Knuckles the best name for a bodyguard gorilla?
Ah, man.
I take that to mean we're moving to Hunter.
We're moving to Hunter, yeah.
It's so great to see Harambe back in action.
Oh, yeah. That had to happen.
This is just the meme podcast. Got it.
That's where we are. Look, the card is a meme. It's like, okay, after it attacks a minion, it also hits the enemy hero. Okay, awesome. So what control Hunter deck exists in which you want to be using a 5-mana card with only 3 attack in Hunter to clear the enemy board? Like, what is that good against? It's not good against Zoo, because a lot of the Zoo cards, right now you get Defender of Argus, they get to above 4 health, or you've got like Imp Leader, the Imp Boss, and that's
Imp
a 2/4. Imp Gang Boss. There you go. That's very true. It was ahead of its time, really. And so, and that's 4 health. Like, you're not gonna deal with a Doom Guard that way. With the Paladin stuff, I guess it helps in the sense that you can clear some Divine Shields depending on what's in play, or you can, constantly deal with some of his 1/1s, even if it was, Humility'd or Aldor Peacekeeper'd or whatever else. But it's just, I don't think it does enough. I think it's too slow for the Hunters that we are aware of today. It would have to shift to a more control-y bent. I don't see mid-range going for this, is essentially what I'm saying. And Aggro certainly does not have time for that in the slows.
No, Aggro definitely not. So I have 2 points about Knuckles here.
Yeah, please.
1, it's a control card that still manages to go face. If that's not some serious Hunter flavor, I don't know what else is. 2, handhold mechanic. You see, Knuckles is not a 3/7 minion.
Oh, that's true.
He's what, for instance, you play a shaky gunner or a shaky zip gunner on 3, and Knuckles is now a 5/9.
Which,
for 5.
For the record, you guys can't see, but Shaky Zip Gunner is a 3-mana 3/3 with a Death Rattle to give random +2/+2. That's pretty darn good if you're looking
card
at
in your hand, yeah.
Or Don Hancho, maybe?
Don Hancho? I actually, the one I look at, and this is, I think, going to be on your next slide, Walter. We're skipping around a little bit. Trog Beast Rager. Give a random beast in your hand +1/+1. This is what you're talking. When you talk about having to sacrifice curve, you do not have to sacrifice any curve with Trog Beast Rager. You just give your beast that extra buff, and it's a 3/2 for 2. We're already seeing that played with things like King's Elec, and Hunter doesn't even really need to worry about card draw that much if it gets some really powerful things that can hit face quickly on the board.
Yeah,
I mean, that's really dangerous for a beast hunter kind of deck that we're seeing, and especially when you look at, going back now to the first page, because I enjoy messing with you, Walter, Rat Pack, which I think is going to be the most dangerous card in this set as far as what's going to tilt streamers like Kriparian the most. Because it's going to get bumped. It's going to be this one big thing. He's like, well, I have to clear it. You spend, you're a hunter. You spend your Executor, your Shield Slam, and suddenly there are just 7 1/1s on the board. And you have all of the abilities to just, you run an Animal Companion, get a Leok, now they all get their buff. You get all these. I mean, you can make some crazy things with Rat Pack that are just going to be disastrous.
Yeah, like
if done well.
Beast Rager curves perfectly well into Rat Pack, curves perfectly well into Houndmaster. I'm sorry, but it seems like Hearthstone Heroes of Curvecraft is still around, at least in this case.
Yeah.
One other thing, I actually might. It's what I put in my notes. I think that Hunter Zoo goes back to the zoo.
That's what I was gonna ask about Rat Pack in particular, because I play Zoolock, a wonderful Bruce Leroy Zoolock deck that my good brother crafted for me that I still have somehow made work, even though I haven't upgraded it at all.
You have like none of the zoo cards.
Right, none of the current zoo cards. It works. Like, I'm not gonna win a Hearthstone Tour championship or anything with it, but like I can get to 20 and be fine. But yeah, Zoo does seem to want to be going back to Hunter. And you're talking about curve especially. Is Smuggler's Crate a good turn 1 card, or is it something that you really want to hang on to later on into the game, Alex?
It depends. I mean, like, King's Alec is a 2-drop beast. Like you want to find a curve, and if your curve is like turn 1 Smuggler's Crate, turn 2 Trog Beast Rager, turn 3 3-mana 7/7 Rat Pack, I guess Faceless Behemoth can eat it.
Yeah, I mean the real question here is what else are you playing on turn 1 as a hunter? Like, you're not playing Hunter's Mark on... Yeah, okay, sure. If you want 2 1/1s, that's fine, I guess. I mean,
it's a possessed villager that's a beast in Hunter.
Well, yeah, except the fact that it's on 2 minions means it's more easily cleared by whirlwind effects or anything like that. I don't know. Alicat could see play. I think it's going to be a lot like... you look at... what's the card where you do 1 damage and then you get a 1/1 Hound? Because it's essentially that, right?
Oh,
and that card doesn't see play.
Yeah, but I mean...
A card's so powerful in the fact that it guarantees a damage and a beast, and it doesn't get played. So I don't see Alicat getting played, but I do totally see a world, especially if we shift more towards that mid-range element, and we go there instead of sticking with the Secret Hunter that's really viable right now, then I see Smuggler's Crate having a place, because I don't see... I don't see it working out the other way. But, I mean, it all depends, again, on whether you want to be playing a 1-drop on Hunter or whether you're going to be more focused on curving out with some of your other cards. I mean, right now, Hunter plays... Some Hunter decks still run Argent Squire, so I think there's room for 1. But they've got to make sure it's getting enough value and maybe not having any presence on the board. Maybe Alicat is better than just a 2/2 in the long run, but... We will have to see. And
I mean, I don't know about you, but it seemed to work pretty well for Zulox at the beginning of Whispers of the Old Gods. But
yes.
The Darkshire Councilman, that's the card.
Yes.
Darkshire Councilman. I guarantee I'm going to be at least trying Zoo Hunter with Alicat as like my Possessed Villager analog and Rat Pack being our equivalent to Forbidden... I don't know... Fill your board with 1/1 tentacles. Make your punch people to death. Yeah. Like that seems decent.
And by the way, the card I was forgetting earlier is On the Hunt. So
On the Hunt.
That's the 1 damage summon a 1/1. I think that Alicat is, you know, if you want to swarm your opponent on it, that's fine. It's going to be interesting to see, you know, whether you're going to be able to in that kind of deck get the buffs in your hand that you need to make it work, while still playing minions constantly every turn. I think it's going to be a very interesting balance, but I can totally... If Zoo Hunter becomes a thing, I will not be surprised in the slightest.
Speaking of swarming your opponents with 1/1s and 1-cost creatures, small-time recruits and paladins! Another reason for me to hate this goddamn class.
Why?
I hate paladin. I hate it.
Yeah, why?
I just don't like playing against it. I feel like they always just...
It's the second weakest class right now.
I just hate playing against it. It's just not fun. It's not fun for me.
Paladin is so lost right now. Like, speaking about small-time recruits, Chase and I already, like, started getting into...
I don't know what you're talking about. We don't talk at all before the podcast. We literally come in and it immediately beams out to the viewer. I don't know. Don't reveal any magic tricks here, Alex. I mean, we want you back on the podcast, so you gotta be
Is this the card he was talking about, Alex, where he put it on it because it's just awful?
No, I love this card.
Oh.
I love small-time recruits.
Okay.
I think small-time recruits is one of the secretly best cards in this expansion because I think that anything that thins a deck has proven to be super successful. You know, if you look, it's a 3-mana card, so you're not, you know, how much are Paladins really doing on 3 mana? I mean, Steward of Darkshire didn't really work out.
You're playing a Wicker Flame Burn Bristle and having a taunt with Divine Shield.
You'd rather play the Wicker Flame later when you've already buffed it a bit more, because that damage dealt by the minion also healing your hero, that's much more of a late game effect. You don't want to be playing that on curve.
True.
You want to be playing that after you've dropped something that buffs it. So what do you want to be playing on curve? Well, you want to get to the stuff that buffs your minion. The best way to do that is to play small-time recruits, which is immediately going to get 3 1-drop minions out of your deck, into your hand. Any ability that allows you to draw 3 cards is powerful. Any ability that allows you to draw 3 cards that you would otherwise not want to top deck is very powerful. And keep in mind that there are 1-drops like the Mean Street Marshal, which isn't included on our images, but that's a 1-drop, a 1-mana 1/2, that if it has 2 or more attack, draw a card. all you need is a Direwolf Alpha. You can proc that, and suddenly you're drawing even more cards. I mean, there are valuable 1-drops, especially in the Paladin class, that will take advantage of this. I think this lets Selfless Hero become a thing again. You know, because you can spam the board with that, and then Selfless Hero dies, you give something else Divine Shield, and it buys you time to get the other boost cards. I really like Small-Time Recruits. As just a more balanced version of what we saw be so powerful when Secret Paladin was plaguing the ladder. So, but you're less, yeah, Muster for Battle. Yeah, I mean that would be obviously. I would rather have Muster for Battle than Small-Time Recruits, but I can't have Muster for Battle, so Small-Time Recruits is great. But I mean, you're less high on it. Where do you come down on it, Alex?
Okay, so if you're playing a deck full of 1-drops, you're probably some kind of like an aggro deck, and yes. I don't think that you want to take your turn 3 off to draw 3 1-drops that you're going to play on turn 4 into Whirlwind. I don't know, into any
Swipe.
Of Maelstrom Portal, Dragonfire Potion, like any of the efficient board wipes that exist. Now, the point of the hand-holding mechanic, it gives you 3 relatively cheap guys, but it's not like Paladin doesn't have tools to make those guys greater than they started. You have Smuggler's Run, give all the minions in your hand 1/1. You have Grind Street Outfitter, who has an ability just on a Battlecry body, even though he kind of sucks.
Yeah, I mean, that's the dream, right? Is turn 3, you get your 1/1s. Turn 4, you play Grime Street Outfitter, and either another one of those or 2 Smuggler's Runs, and everything in your hand gets +2/+2.
And you're taking 2 turns off. No, you're in Crystal's Land now.
No, because you still get the 1/1 on the board, but that's a 1/1 that you would have been spending 2 mana on your hero power anyway. I mean,
that's fair.
There's a balance there. I think, or how about even just a matter of Smuggler's Run for 1 mana, play all of your 1 mana cards that all now have a 1/1 buff. So you're essentially getting at least on average 2 mana out of each of those cards, and you only spent 1 turn to do that, and now you flooded the board with 4 minions. It's not like that's not bad. Like that can work. The problem is that, you know, you look at the card that I get most excited about Paladin, and that's Getaway Kodo, and that card sucks in Aggro Paladin. It's terrible in Aggro Paladin. Because when it's friendly minion dies or turn into your hand, if it's one of my 1/1s, that's the last thing I want to do. That's a terrible idea.
That's not the deck that you play that in. The deck
right,
that you
but what do you play it in?
Oh, Tyrion, I need another Ashbringer.
Okay, sure. But don't you think it's a little bit suspicious to your opponent when you have a Tyrion and a 1-mana secret? Because you can't play it on curve. You play Tyrion on turn 8, then you're not going to have the ability to play Getaway Kodo. So you have to hope that it doesn't die for 1 turn, and then you play Getaway Kodo and not any other minion in case they kill that one first? Or what, you just wait till turn 9 to play it? Do you do like Light Lord turn 8, turn 9, Getaway Kodo plus Tyrion? Like you really, the number of situations in which you are going to have a board that is completely empty except for the one thing you don't want to die is going to be rough in a game that is right now dominated by mid-range. It has to be an entirely different, more control-oriented meta that focuses on single target removal, and you're basically not using your hero power once at any point for like the 3 or 4 turns leading up to when you want to play Getaway Kodo.
So
I have a hard time finding the place for it.
Is Get Down still a thing?
Get Down is still a thing, and the way they
cool.
block,
Secret Paladin's back. You play Secret Paladin when Redemption pops on your whatever bodyguard 2/1. I die for all the time except when this happens.
They've already confirmed that Get Down will be the one that comes back to your hand. I don't want a 1-mana 2/1 back to my hand. It's a terrible idea.
You're totally fine when it gets Redemption.
Yeah, but that's because I don't. Look, Redemption is not a high-value card other than the fact that it allows you to maintain a board state. Getaway Kodo doesn't allow you to continue a board state. Playing the 1-mana card next turn doesn't do... You need to get value off of it, and assuring that you will is going to be, I think, difficult. But at the same time, I'm a guy who, when I started the last expansion, the Old Gods... Whispers of the Old Gods. That's the W I was looking for. I was about to say Wrath. I'm like, that's not right. Whisper of the Old Gods. I was the guy playing Yasharaj Dragon Paladin. And I actually had a 50% win rate with that deck.
Hey,
which isn't to
totally
say I don't recommend it to anybody. It was horribly unfun when you lose. But when you got Yasharaj out and everything was going crazy, like Yasharaj with a getaway Kodo up, that sounds like fun.
Ooh, that's a spicy.
Yeah. Spicy meatball.
Yeah, but overall, I think that we're going to lean more towards the aggro path than we are going towards the getaway Kodo control side of things.
Definitely, but at the same time, like, ripping Pepperoni's Paladin. You never this is your penance for Secret Paladin.
Yeah, it really, unless there is always the possibility, right, that we're completely underestimating this card, these aggro cards, and it actually works out really well, and the board, they can't run enough board clears. But this expansion's running so many board clears. It's hard for me to imagine the Paladin world in which getting away with pure aggro Paladin, you're either going to win or lose with that deck by turn 6. Yeah, and I think with the way the meta is right now, I think you probably lose more often than you win. And that's going to be a big problem.
Priest right now is like board wipe tribal, so good luck.
You talk about all this Paladin aggro, I just want to put a giant shield in front of me and just stop all that from happening. Because Chase, you put in our show notes here, Taunt Warrior hype. And
they're not giving up.
Excites me a little bit.
They're not giving up. It was totally as a meme, really, because for whatever reason, Hearthstone, the Team 5 is looking at Warrior and they're like, look, right now they can do aggro, they can go Face Warrior, they could go mid-range with Dragon Warrior, they could go late game with Control Warrior, both N'Zoth and Elise versions. Let's give them a 5th way to play the game. Keep in mind that Rogue, Paladin, and Priest have been struggling to have one good way to play the game. Let's give Warrior a 5th. That's the idea. And you know what? To be fair, I'm okay with that as a general rule because Warrior doesn't need buffs to the other 4 ways to play a game. They have 4 decks within the top 2 tiers on the Tempo Storm. It's insane. They don't need any help with that. I'm glad that most of the cards in this, for Warrior in this set are either on the weaker end of things or they're pushing a Taunt Warrior hybrid that we have not seen ever work because they're desperate for Bolster to be a card that people don't meme about anymore. But here's the problem with that. This is why my argument that okay, well, at least I get it. They're doing a cool thing, whatever, is then completely off rails because they printed Hobbit Grapplehammer.
Yeah, that was...
And that's just a giant middle finger to everyone who hates Face Warrior. How dare you?
Any warrior. Any warrior. Over Grapplehammer. Hey, you know that Gore Howl that's going to be sitting in your hand for a while? Yeah, let's just make that better.
Congratulations, you thought Ragnaros or Alexstrasza were safe. Guess again. That's gone now. That's
wait. It's like okay, so to rewind for a second, you're totally right. You are completely right. It must be nice to be like someone who only plays the 4 warrior decks that exist.
Yeah.
That you can just look at this list and be like, man, we don't gain anything, but we're not losing anything either.
Exactly. They're fine. And every single one of those decks is going to play Grapplehammer because you thought Fiery Winax was bad now, right? That's the one, I think it's Victoria's Syndicate. They do the advanced metrics on that. Correct me if I said the name wrong in the comments. I don't really use their site very often, but they did do a great article about Fiery Warax. And having that card in your opening hand has proven to be the most valuable card towards an end result of a win in the game right now. If you start the game with Fiery Warax, you win something like 58% of the time. Just straight up.
Talk about recouping all the negative tempo that playing a Grimy Goons deck will do to you. Screw it. Fiery Warax on 2, you regain all the tempo that you're ever gonna lose throughout the game. Who cares? The card and it's never rotating. It's not rotating.
This is the thing. It's even worse because we forget this, right? King's Defender exists, which is a 3-mana 3/2 that gets the extra durability with Taunt. No. So on the off chance that Taunt is actually a thing, now we're gonna have a 3-mana 4/3 weapon. That's not good. We're giving even more early to mid-range weapons for Warrior if Taunt Warrior actually works. And I'm not saying it will, but if you're going to do that, Stolen Goods is a pretty great way to do that. Like, we've got the Alley Armor Smith, right? A 2/7 that gains the armor for every amount of damage that it does. That's a really good card. 2/7 isn't the best stat line, but if it's a 5/10 that gives 5 armor every time anything attacks into it or it does damage to the opponent. Ooh, and that's a 2-card combo. That's not getting obscene with like a Don Honcho or any of these other buffs. It's literally just Stolen Goods gets you there. And if you're really worried about it, like, look, man, I don't know, maybe I won't draw it. Don't worry. I know a guy. I know a guy that can immediately help me find that taunt minion that I want, and there aren't that many bad taunt minions as long as you're playing with buffs. So you get to this point where it's like, look, I can pick the early, mid, late game taunt. Like,
I don't know. Public Defender is pretty trash, but let's not talk about that card anymore.
No, we're not going to talk about that card. But I mean, even look at the worst case scenario, right? Let's say the best taunt you could possibly find is the 0/7. What's the new 0/7 taunt that they released?
Public Defender.
Public Defender. Okay, I thought it was okay. So you get Public
Defender. Yeah.
You get Public Defender, right? You give it +3/+3. You have a 2-mana 3/10 taunt.
On turn 3.
On turn 3, a 2-mana 3/10 taunt on turn 3 kills. This kills the zoo. This kills the Aggro Paladin.
That's fair.
That is atrocious.
I would so much rather have the Alley Armorsmith be a 5/10. I don't know about you. I played a bunch of Druid, like Cthulhu Druid, and sometimes you just win by innervating the
Twin Emperor Velkar?
No, Ancient of War. Sometimes
that also
sometimes
works.
just a 5/10, like a 5/10 or a 5/7 taunt on turn 5 just gets you there.
Turn 5, dude. Turn 3, double innervate. What are you doing? Do you even know how to Druid?
Sometimes, look. I've had turn 1 Ragnaros get punished. I never overextend anymore.
I just want Taunt Warrior to be good, so every time I play it, I can be like, now prepare for my big shield Gargana in Yugimoto voice, and just
Now we just need the equivalent of Kunai with Chain, and we'll be all good.
You've activated my trap card. Speaking of trap card, Alex, your least favorite gang. Cabal.
I never said that Cabal was my least favorite gang.
Well, there are only 3, and so which is your least favorite?
Hold on. No, actually, no, Grimy Goons. Grimy Goons is my least favorite. Okay. I just think that as far as, like, gang fantasy, like, the Cabal is so boring. You have the Cabal Chemist, which is the only potion support you get out of the entire thing. Grimy Goons has just neutrals that buff cards in your hand. They have neutrals that synergize with the handhold mechanic.
Sure.
Cabal Chemist. And you can only play in 3 classes.
Yeah, but guess what? Those 3 classes all now have access to a ton of extra, either mostly board clears or other really nice things. Like, every card that's labeled a potion is really good.
Yeah, the potions are great. The only problem is slot competition for their mana costs.
Yeah, I mean, the difference is, if this was Discover a Potion, it would be a must include in pretty much every deck. It would be broken. But here's the thing. You have to remember, though, that the reason that the Cabal exists right now is because they're going towards the Reno style of deck if you play Hearthstone, Highlander if you're more oriented towards Magic the Gathering. Every single legendary in a Cabal deck has this whole, if your deck has no duplicates. So a Cabal Chemist, maybe it doesn't look as exciting on paper, but now this is your chance to get a second of that potion you can only run 1 copy of. Or it's a chance to get a potion that any potion is going to be valuable when when you don't have the consistency that comes with being able to run duplicates. So if Reno Mage is a thing, if Reno Warlock is a thing, Reno Lock is going to continue to be a thing. If Reno Priest, I doubt Reno Priest is going to be a thing, but at the very least, Reno Mage has already been a thing. Brian Kibler has been doing it. This is a huge support for that. And curse you. Yeah, it had to be done. I watch Brian Dragon Master Kibler every day. So
I was gonna say that Brian Kibler's been playing Reno Mage, so
he loves it.
That's a thing, and he loves Priest because dragons. So why wouldn't he play that too?
My Priest Dragon my Priest Dragon excitement is going to come out pretty soon. But you know, we should get into. I mean, we have to mention Kazakus as the most fun card that has been made ever since. I don't know I think this might be the new most fun card in Hearthstone. You get to make your own spell. You get to discover 2 parts to your own spell at whatever mana cost you choose. 3 parts?
Well, it's 3 parts. Part 1 is the mana cost. It's 1, 5, 10.
Yes, and then it's 2 parts
the
for your spell.
And then it's 2 parts for the spell. If you choose the 1 cost version, you can't get the polymorph effect. That's only either 1 random minion or all the minions.
Right.
And that's at 5/10.
But there are a lot of, you know, board clear AoE stuff. There's a lot of play a whole bunch of things. There's a whole, like, there are a lot of really valuable parts of those spells, and they are significantly better than any spell you're going to run naturally at that mana cost. And to have that available for all 3 of these classes, like, you would think, like, oh, Reno Priest is a little silly until you remember Shadow Form exists. And then suddenly you're like, wait a second. So I could run Kazakus, and I can run one of the healing potions we're going to get to later, and I could just go full Shadow Form. Like, I think we're going to see Reno versions of every single one of these Cabal decks. And the fun is going to be if there's enough value within each of these classes from top to bottom to get us there. And I think Priest is going to have the hardest time with that. I think Warlock has already done it, and I think Mage has a pretty natural, easy transition. So I think we're going to see a lot of that going forward.
Now that you say Shadow Form, you actually have just reminded me. Brian Kibler already has a Shadow Priest Reno deck.
Yeah.
There we go.
See,
thanks, Brian Kibler. You literally gave us the Cabal on a silver platter.
Are we positive he didn't show up to Team 5's headquarters and said, hey, just make this? Like, trust me? Like, I
called him. They probably called him.
I mean, he literally was the designer for their WoW trading card game before this one. Like, he was significantly involved.
So
basically
what we're saying is Kazakus into Inkmaster Solia is kind of gross.
Yes, I think that's safe to say.
Oh my god. I never considered.
That's kind of disgusting, right?
That's the first thing I thought of.
If I have an Inkmaster in my hand, I'm automatically going with the 10 cost, right? Like,
yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Every day, and then you just like murder them.
And the thing is, though, you have to. I mean, the key is going to be in what order you draw things, right? Because you can't count because it's a Reno Highlander style. Yeah. You can't count on having Inkmaster Solia in your hand when you play Kazakus.
Right.
So you might build a 5-mana spell just to be able to keep up with tempo, depending on what the matchup is. But if you can get greedy, there are some greedy options. But you look at something like Pyroblast, a free Pyroblast, that's in play. A free Flame Strike, that's in play. A free Blizzard is in play. There are a lot of things that you can look at as these kind of big, super powered options. But in all reality, and this is something Brian Kibler brought up in his card review. We're just going to keep mentioning Kibler every 5 seconds for the rest of the review. I hope you guys are okay with that. But I mean, one of the things he brought up is that more likely you're going to be using it to play something like Polymorph, which is totally fine because what that allows you to do
is fine. Anything is fine. All realities are possible.
A zero-cost arcane missile isn't good.
You're not playing that anyways.
Yeah, you're not going to be playing arcane. I mean, but for example, if it stretches out loud enough, we now have greater arcane missiles, which I don't think is going to be any good. But if for whatever reason we get to the point where it's like, oh, well, you get this off of a Kabbalist tome, for instance, which is totally going to be played. Or how about this? Inkmaster Solia into a free Kabbalist tome giving you the ice block you need to survive. That will be in a Trollden clip. I'm calling it right now. We will see that combination happening. 100%. Like any value, like Inkmaster Solia is guaranteed value. Even if it's not the super mega dream that everyone's imagining it to be. I'm still not sure we're going to be running Pyroblast and Reno Mage just because it's slower than you would want for the rest of your curve. But you're going to get value out of it. And any card that guarantees value when you already have Kazakus as the big dream option, basically no matter what, that's going to be scary. And then add into that, you have Manic Soulcaster, which I think is a very underrated card. You can basically choose like, oh, I played Kazakus, but I got him a little bit late. Maybe I play him on turn 7. Oh, I know. Kazakus into Manic Soulcaster. I'll have another Kazakus later, and I have another chance to pull off the 10-mana Dream, but I can still do the 5-mana potion now. Or there's just so many good things that you can do with the Ink Master.
Look,
yeah, let's talk potions.
Oh, see, I need to like dominate the floor here.
Yeah, take it
for 2 huge points.
Yes.
First of all, yeah, potions, as you were saying, Freezing Potion. This card's so good. It does so much.
It's so happy.
It's a 0-mana enabler for Ice Lance. So now we don't need, like, if you're so inclined to do that, you don't need to, like, sit there on a Frost Blast being like, oh, I need this, otherwise my ice, to, like, maximize the Ice Lance value.
Right.
You just have, like, a 0-mana way to, like, freeze your dude, bam. This just is amazing with Archmage Antonidas. If you're in a position where you need to, like, turn 7 your Archmage, Antonidas, Freezing Potion, God forbid you have a coin Ice Lance or something, you just lock down your opponent's board, you have 3 fireballs in hands, and odds are you're untapping with Archmage to just wreck them the next turn. Freezing Potion's amazing. It's super flexible. It's amazing.
What do you cut for it? Like I mean,
I don't know. Find this
Freeze Mage.
It's great.
Freeze Mage is so refined in how it needs to do damage, and Freezing Potion doesn't do the damage, right? If you're playing Freeze Mage, you are going to be holding on to your Frostbolts because you need that damage to kill your opponent. So you can't replace it with Freezing Potion just to get the Ice Lance procs, because you've got to be able to 100 to 0 most of your opponents. Or at the very least, you've got to be able to Alexstrasza, deal with whatever healing they do, and then 100 to 0 them. So Freezing Potion doesn't fit there. It doesn't fit in a Tempo Mage, because just freezing an enemy doesn't get rid of it when you're trying to fight for board control above everything else. I just don't see where it fits. It's one of those cards I'm going to be really glad if I get it off of a Kabbalist Tome in a Reno or whatever else. But like it feels like Silence to me. Like Silence in theory, that's a 0-mana card. Like silencing a minion, there are a lot of minions that you feel like you would totally want to silence, and for free, that's great, but it's a card in your deck. And how many times it takes up a slot that you could be spending on Frost Nova or Blizzard or any of the other ways you stall people out in Freeze Mage, or the damage that you need to do likely in a Reno Mage, because you're probably already playing things like Frost or like Flame Lance in order to deal with big things, or Forbidden Flame or whatever. I would love to, like, I mean, there is a dream scenario in which it works out wonderfully, but I just don't see that scenario being so common that freezing one opponent one time for one turn is going to be worth a card slot. Because that's possibly. How about this though? It does give you guaranteed 2-mana, 2-card hard removal if you play Shatter. So we've got a Shatter enabler
I forgot about Shatter. I did forget about Shatter.
So now if you get it from Kabbalist Tome, there's hope. Like, there's value now. There's a chance for actual value.
There you go. So yeah, the Freezing Potion's death might come in the fact that just lists might be too tight. I like it. I feel that it enables so much stuff. But
I hope I'm wrong.
I know.
I hope I'm wrong. What about the other 2 potions? Where are your thoughts on them?
Potion of Polymorph, it gets handled in the same way that Mirror Entity gets handled, but everyone's made that point. I don't really want to talk too much about Potion of Polymorph. It is another potion. It's another polymorph effect for Reno Mage, which is, again, another point that people have brought up. The card's been talked to death. Mm-hmm. Volcanic Potion, it's a strictly better Arcane Explosion for Reno Mage. You want to handle all the little Zooey minions efficiently, or even some things that might have gotten like buffed randomly. Volcanic Potion kills everything. The last point that I want to make about Mage is Cabal Crystal Runner, and how I think that like Secret Tempo Mage is going to be a thing, because it might be 6 mana, but if you remember that Kirin Tor Mage exists and is 3 mana, then all of a sudden you have just this perfect curve of like turn 3 Kirin Tor Mage, play like an Effigy or Mirror Entity or whatever high impact secret you want, and then just turn 4 you have a 5/5.
Yeah.
And even
don't forget, Cabal Lackey also allows you to play a secret for free on turn 1, which I don't know what mage secret you want to play on turn 1. That's kind of a problem in and of itself. But I mean, it's in play. Ethereal, yeah. Well, that would be the dream.
Cabal Lackey is not a turn 1. Is not a turn 1 play.
Cabal Lackey into Ice Block into a turn 2 Mad Scientist in Wild is going to, completely destroy the hopes and dreams of a lot of people on the Wild ladder. I could see Wild that getting insane because there already are, Mad Scientist just makes secrets so much more viable.
Yeah, that's fair.
So I think that's where it's going to find its home. But we'll certainly see if somehow, again, we know they're going to need to fill it up. So maybe there will be more secrets than I think. But
Alex,
we should move on to
basically. Yeah, let's move on.
Let's move on to Priest.
Yeah, Alex, you called Paladin a class without an identity earlier. What about Priest? What's Priest's identity right now?
Brian Kibler. Brian
Kibler.
Can we please retcon Anduin to not be the pinnacle of the Aryan dream and just make it Brian Kibler?
Pretty much. Look, I play a loon first of all, so I get to be my pay to win Twitch Prime hype on that. But
first of all, it's not. It's the lore nerd.
Tyrande Whisperwind. Yeah, I know. I said
you.
A loon guide I just had the battle cry or the entrance, I should say, in my mind. Yes, Tyrande. I will say this. I genuinely, we joke about Brian Kibler having some influence on the Cabal. I do not think that we get the cards we get in this expansion without people like Brian Kibler keeping Dragon Priest alive. Because that's essentially what this expansion is. They looked at it, they said, Blackrock Mountain is about to go out. We could completely reinvent the Priest theme, right? We didn't give them any real dragon support in Whispers of the Old Gods. Mm-hmm. Not anything that was overwhelmingly meaningful in that regard. And so you look at what Standard's going to look like, and they're like, we have to come up with some way to keep, Priest relevant. We really, people are grasping on to this Dragon Priest role. So let's give them Dragonfire Potion, which is just absolutely bonkers. That is insane. That is as close to Light Bomb as we are going to get in Standard for a very long time. Because 5 damage kills just about anything. Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah. And I think it's situationally better, situationally worse than Light Bomb. Mm-hmm. Because sometimes there's a 4/5. A 4/5 Chillin' Yeti. Chillin' Yeti was played and constructed far longer than it had any right to be.
I still use it.
And Light Bomb wouldn't.
At least he's mechanical Yeti now, Walter. Come on, get with the times.
No.
Sometimes once you get towards the top of the curve, minions that have more health than power become more prevalent, and Light Bomb wouldn't kill them. Dragonfire and Potion might.
Yeah, that's very true. And don't forget, it only affects non-dragons. So if you're playing Dragon Priest and it's not a mirror matchup, who knows? Dragon Rogue is apparently a thing on the ladder now. I played a few of them last night. I don't know who started that list. I hate them for doing it. It's not a fun deck to play against at all. But unless you're
I've actually gotten stopped by Dragon Rogue too.
Yeah, no, it just popped up. So some streamer just did it. And I don't know who it is. Let us know. Like, comment, subscribe. Let us know.
Kibler?
Yes, it could be Kibler. He doesn't usually play Rogue, but it's all in play. But, look, you look at Raza the Unchained. That's your dream if you're a Shadow Form player. And because for the rest of the game, your hero power is free. Was Confessor Palatrus too slow? Don't worry. You can activate her on turn 7 now. Was Kodo Rider too slow? Don't worry. You can activate it on turn 6 now. All these Inspire cards where you were like, man, Priest could get so much use out of this. They're free now. Murloc Knight is Paladin, so I guess if you thought steal it from your opponent that's still playing a really outdated version of Paladin.
I just like Murloc Knight.
I do too. Look, it's a fun card. I don't think we're gonna see it again, but it's fun. But Raza. So now you've enabled this, Raza the Chained, to go crazy with your hero power with any, of the TGT stuff, which is going to be great because that does not rotate out at the end of the year. So that's going to be important. And then you look at Yeah, and then you get a Draconoid Operative, and that's one of the best cards I've ever seen. This card is broken. This card is like, I am a Dragon Priest. I am so glad it's getting help. And even I'm looking at this like, why in the world are you giving me 5/6 for 5 and I get to discover a card in my opponent's deck? That's insane. That's bonkers.
There's your Murloc Knight.
Yes.
There's your Murloc Knight.
Sure.
Yeah.
It's bonkers regardless. Like, whatever you get a Discover, so you get 3 choices. You then get info on 3 cards your opponent's playing. That's super valuable. I mean, imagine it, like Magic the Gathering, the ability to look at your opponent's deck is insanely powerful. We're giving 3 cards right here out of 30. That's a 10th of the deck, you know, right now.
Yeah.
Every time you do it. And honestly, like, decks are standardized enough that you see 3 cards. If you haven't figured it out yet, you know now. And you can figure out what decks they're playing and probably adjust accordingly. And you still, it's a 5/6 for 5 that draws a card of your choice. That's insane. How did they print this? I mean, I appreciate it, but how did they print this?
By turn 5, you should probably already have your opponent placed, or you somehow missed the aggro queue and are about to die.
I mean, that's fair. I mean, but either way, just information is always good. At the very least, it tells you what they don't have in their hand. You know, for example, if you're going up against, say, a Warlock and it's Zoo, and you discover and you see that there are 2 Soulfires to choose from. Well, you know he hasn't drawn either of his Soulfires yet. You can play accordingly. That's
what do you mean?
Good.
That's spooky. That's what that is.
Yeah,
like,
right?
Wait, you're telling me he's not going to be casting any of these anytime soon? Damn.
Yeah, and to go back to the Reno point from earlier, right? This whole idea that maybe Shadow Form works, like, Greater Healing Potion now exists. So now you can play the dragons, and you don't have to worry about having to use flash heals to keep yourself alive while maintaining some sort of board state. You don't have to worry about, if you have Raz of the Chained, you can keep using your healing while you're playing, some sort. It'll be interesting. I don't know if Dragon Priest, I don't think you can go to 1-ofs. I don't know if there are enough support for the dragons for that. I think you're going to see Dragon Priest, and I think you're going to see a Reno Shadow Form Priest. And I think the fact that we can see 2 priests be very viable is way more than I was expecting after what Priest has been for the last 6 months. So I'll take that.
Now before we move on to Warlock, I do have one comment about Priest.
Yeah, please.
I am 100% positive. This is an indisputable fact, much like Mexico is going to pay for the wall. Indisputable. Bigly indisputable.
Featuring Shannon Sharp.
Bigly. Yeah, totally. I'm going Skip Bayless here real quick.
Yeah, Skip Bayless, go.
I am 100% certain that the asshole that created Greater Healing Potion and Anti-Keelbot created them purely to screw me over when I have lethal in my hand as my Tempo Mage. I am 100% positive about that fact. That they created these cards just to go, hey, Walter Fedczuk, he likes to play Hearthstone. He likes to play Tempo Mage. Guess what? These 2 cards are going to give him so much tilt. So much salt is going to pour out of his veins. We're going to be able to make the Black Sea larger and use the Pacific Ocean as the new Black Sea. Because I swear to God, this card is going to appear in Arena and it's going to appear in Constructed and Standard. And I'm going to lose games so many times because I'm ready to kill them and they're going to play this stupid shit.
Arena is going to be... Sorry, go ahead. Please.
I need to start streaming so that way you can just see how salty I get.
Oh yeah, God.
Priest.
I hate
Priest.
I'm in the process of moving from where I am now to my own place, and as soon as I get there, I will start streaming some Hearthstone because the amount of salt I bring on a regular basis. Now, here's the thing, Walter. You don't need to be worried about Greater Healing Potion if you're playing Tempo Mage, because if they're spending 4 mana to do a thing and you can't reclaim the board after that, like, you're probably losing his Tempo Mage anyway. But Pint-Sized Potion into Potion of Madness is going to wreck your shit. That's just how that's going to go. Yeah. It's going to be a 2-minute... Like, they're going to eliminate all your attacks so they can kill all your things. They're going to take one of your minions and then kill it into the other thing. And you're just going to be really sad. And that's just how this is going to go. And
anything under a pint-sized potion is not going to be killing anything.
Well, you pint-sized potion
pint-sized
potion Emperor Thorazan into whatever big drop they have. Like there will be some great Trollden clips. I'm not sure how reliable it is. It's why I didn't include it on the slides.
Are you sure?
With Trollden, I'm sure it will happen.
Okay.
Put it on the list of randomness that will go down.
That's fair.
We got to move on. I just had to
Yeah,
say. I think this card was meant just to kill me.
It's meant to save you, Walter. It heals you. It doesn't do.
It was the product of the devil, which is funny.
No, here's where you're gonna hate it. Akadai Soul Priest into two flash heals, into Greater Healing Potion, for 24 damage from hand. Plus,
kill me.
Plus, hero powers free because of something that happened earlier in the game.
I'm done. I hate Priest. Just moving on.
That's
moving on.
right
Warlock,
there.
Kroll the Unshackled. Are demons back? Is Demon Lock back?
Demons never started.
Well, okay. Do they start?
Yeah.
Is this the
Reno Demon Tribal? You can try. Let me know how it goes.
Yeah.
It's like, why play demons when you can just play Zulok, right?
Or Reno Lock, or literally any other kind of demon tribal. Their saving grace is Cabal Trafficker. Looks like if you're gonna look at a card to be like, okay, Kroll the Unshackled's our payoff card, but what really brings the archetype together? How do we get there? It's Cabal Trafficker. I mean, they're still missing some cards to go in the middle. Because
still
when you're gonna start,
curve?
Are we gonna start playing Wrathguard? No,
Oh God.
ever. But
No.
Cabal Trafficker is a great thing, aside from the fact that it's 6/6 for 6.
Yeah.
Like,
But I mean, look, that's fine stats. We've seen worse stats printed for a 6. For 6 mana,
for
essentially
Demon Tribal,
draw...
it's a 6/6 for 6. Let that sink in, please.
6/6 for 6 with the Demon Tribal and essentially draw a random card, which has value. That random card
demon.
is
That
random
matters.
demon. And demon, yeah, and demon supposedly has synergy. And look, you look at Bloodfire Potion, right? Like that's the first time we're seeing something that's actually, usable if it's not a demon, but extra valuable if it is a demon. Those are the kind of cards that we like to use. Yeah, that's also not a piece of shit. So that's very helpful at the end of the day. Is it enough? I don't know. I'm trying to think of what 4-drop demon there is. Like you get Doomguard turn 5 if you want to, but that's not ideal. Yeah, God, it gets rough. I mean, it's the 4 to 5 spot that gets rough because up until then, Flame Imps are fine. You've got plenty of stuff you can do on a 2-drop where you could just draw cards if you're worried about it. 3-drop, you have Imp Gang Boss. Turn 4 and 5 are the
Crystal Weaver.
Yeah.
You get a 5/4 for 4, which is perfectly agreeable stat line. And any demons that you happen to have kicking around, like your 3-mana Imp Gang Boss, which is nigh impossible to kill, trust me, I've tried.
Yeah.
Is now even bigger. Like it can trade into bigger things.
But see,
any random you hit it into, you kill their 2-drop or something. You have a 1/1 Imp, you Crystal Weaver,
sure.
and now you have a
playing,
3 and a 2/2.
Are we playing Demon Zoo in that point? Because if you're gonna get value out of that, you need to have board control. And meanwhile, if you want to use Kroll the Unshackled, you want demons in your hand.
That's what Cabal Trafficker's for, and the fact that Abyssal Forcer, your top-end demons, you're not gonna play.
How many top-end demons are there?
Abyssal
your dream,
Forcer,
your dream is you
Infernal.
get 2 Doom Guards off the top of your hand, off the top of your deck.
Can we please?
I mean, that would be the idea, right? And then you get your 2 free Doom Guards. You get some sort of, whether it's the 6/6, maybe a Cabal Trafficker right away, or Cabal Trafficker isn't actually a demon, is it? No.
Yeah, Cabal Trafficker puts some.
But whatever you get from the card or 2 you got from Cabal Trafficker, maybe some of the ones with really negative side effects, like a Pit Lord. Like if you could sneak out a 5/6 for nothing there, but it feels like
Mal'Ganis.
Most of the demons Mal'Ganis and Wild.
Do you? Oh wait, he rotated.
Yeah,
but I want to be a turtle.
I know, it's the problem. But here,
go play Warrior.
You could be an unlicensed apothecary, which is the card that I'm actually most excited by because a 5/5 for 3 in Zoo is really good. It's really good.
That doesn't allow you to play more minions, or that you actively kill yourself in doing so. This card's This card's in the same camp as you gotta be kidding me. What
It's the whole point of a zoo deck like that, though. I'm gonna do more damage to you than you can to me. If I'm getting 5 damage every turn with Unlicensed Apothecary, as a Warlock, I don't mind taking 5 damage on the flip side to then flood whatever. And by the way, it's whenever you summon a minion. So Forbidden Ritual is completely fucking useless in this particular type of zoo. But if you're playing... you play Defender of Argus into this. Now you have a 6/6 taunt. It costs you 5 health, but you've got a 6/6 taunt. You do 6 damage to face for the 5 that you took, and they still have to clear your 6/6 before they can do anything. I think that there will be a place for this.
Giving it taunt, sure. I also think it has a place. Spot Ace Trash Bin next to I still can't remember what it is. It's like the 5 mana 7/6 that all your other creature spells cost, all your other minions cost.
The mercenary.
Yeah, him, whatever. He's like
Venture
Mercenary.
Venture Mercenary, yeah.
Him. But like he belongs either on the shelf next to Venture Mercenary or in Reno Lock. Because Reno Lock's not playing a ton of minions. Like putting a 3 mana 5/5 that's like, oh, I can't play other minions. Good thing I wasn't going to. And then you just murder everything that they play.
Yeah, you start playing things like Hellfire, or you play things like Shadow Bolt. Like I could see it finding a place in Reno probably a lot better than Zoo. That's a fair point. The question is whether Reno Lock is Reno Demon Lock, and that I'm still not convinced. Especially for 9 mana. It would be different if you could hero power into Cruel. Can I just say, like, and this says a lot about the design theory of Hearthstone, right? The Priest legendary is chained up, but the Warlock legendary gets to be unshackled. What's up with that, Blizzard? Why are we shackling up the Priests and not the Warlocks? It seems like it should be the reverse of that. Warlocks tend to do things that should put them in jail.
The Priest is using a demonic entity that's being shackled and siphoning off their power, while the Warlock's like, no, be free, my demon.
That's not how that works at all. I think it's a religious metaphor.
Is it a religious? I don't know.
I would assume so, because priests are like servants of the light, and demons are like, meh.
We do what we want.
That being said, though, like how demons work with warlocks is that you overpower them and you try to control them. That's why Wilfred Fizzlebang is a hilarious card and character.
Just
remember, you face Jiraxis.
Yeah.
Trifling gnome, your arrogance will be your undoing.
Dude, hold on. Can we just 30 seconds? Have you seen the new Inferno animation for Jiraxis?
No.
They updated it now. Now it's like a giant fireball's hitting the field. It's wonderful.
I mean, that's how
the animation is now worth playing the card alone. Like, I don't care that it doesn't fit my deck. I want to play Jiraxis for that animation because it actually feels like you're playing a 6.
I want to play Jiraxis for the meme.
That's also fair.
For the meme. Okay.
Yeah. You know what won't be played for the meme? Well, actually, I don't know. Can we meme Jade?
Oh God.
Is Jade good?
Memes. Jade's already being memed. Everyone on Reddit is freaking out because God forbid we have anything that deals with control decks. How dare we? It's supposed to. You don't understand. Apparently, the game's supposed to be mid-range beats control. Sorry, mid-range beats aggro. Aggro beats control. Control beats mid-range. You're never allowed to have any other type of deck. Like a scaling Jade Golem, whatever. That's apparently insane.
If there's one thing that I ever learned from playing Fire Emblem, Sword Slayer is something that you never expect, but always happens.
Yes.
The axe that counters swords.
That's an amazing reference. That's a fantastic reference.
It's wonderful. And I love the idea of the Jade Golems. For people who haven't been following the release stuff, I don't know how you've gotten this far in the podcast, but you're here, so I'll explain it anyway.
True.
Every Jade Golem that you summons another, like, it means that the next one is going to have better stats. So the first one's a 1/1, second one's a 2/2, third one's a 3/3, and it keeps going and going and going. Up to, they have different card art for 30/30 as a Jade Golem. If you're summoning a 30/30 Jade Golem and you haven't won the game yet, I think you have bigger issues. Or you're playing a really good control warrior. Yeah, exactly.
No, not even really good. You're just playing like the average controller. It's like man, this game's been going on for 2 hours. What's going on? I'm playing against a rank 13 control warrior. Oh,
yeah,
rip.
that'll do it. Yeah,
That
but
sucks.
I mean, if you look at like what we see from the, like is Jade Spirit good?
No.
And when it's first played, it's essentially a Razorfin Raptor in that it's a 2/3 and a 1/1, which sucks. But if Jade Golems are as powerful as people think, you're going to want to play every Jade card possible. This is a Jade card.
I have an exception to that rule, but we'll get to it in a minute.
That's entirely reasonable. Aya Blackpaw is the one that I think will almost certainly see a lot of play. And a 5/3 for 6 is not great, but you're getting 2 Jade Golems, so that's a guaranteed 3/3 of value on top of that, no matter what. So now you're looking at an 8/6 for 6, which is palatable. And don't forget that you will have been playing other Jade Golem cards up until that point, so you're likely getting a lot more value spread out over minions. So she's going to be played in any Jade Golem deck. Jade Spirit, maybe. You would need to have played at least 2 beforehand, but I'm less convinced.
Yeah, Aya's going to be in every single Jade Spirit or Jade Golem deck that's worth your opponent's salt.
Yes. That's basically how.
So
TLDR, that's where this is going.
You have on here, Chase, again, you did the show notes, so there's 3 classes that can possibly play this. Does Druid have the highest Jade Golem potential?
Yes.
It absolutely.
Yes. Okay.
And it's fucking bonkers because Jade Idol exists, and a lot's been made of this card. There are people like Kibler who are lower on it. There are people like Crip or whatever who are super high on it. Mm-hmm. I come in the middle of this whole thing. I think the way that it wins is not the way that people think it wins. People are thinking like, oh man, they'll never lose a fatigue matchup because they could just keep shuffling 3 cards into their deck. But the number of games that go down to fatigue are really slim. Yeah. And especially with the number of Reno decks we're going to have, things like Elise, I wouldn't be surprised if we see more Golden Monkeys where we just have tons of legendaries swarming the board. I don't think, towards the end of the game, you're not going to just want to flood. You're not going to want to play, you're not going to want to top deck a 1/1, a 1-mana card, and then shuffle 3 more cards in and have that be your turn. It's a terrible late game top deck.
Yeah.
But you
depends on the matchup.
Depends on the matchup. But I think what it's better at is when you draw cards, you do something like a Nourish, for instance, and you draw 3 cards. If you've shuffled 3 Jade Idols already into your deck, Jade Golem, Jade Golem, Jade Golem, you just play 3 Jade Golems at a turn, essentially. That's a huge way to ramp.
That's
or you play
massive,
2 and then shuffle 3 more copies into your deck, so you just keep ramping. And that's the thing that people realize. It's not going to be that you're constantly looking to get more and more Jade Idols to beat fatigue. That'll almost never work just from the tempo you're going to lose. But you can totally summon 2 of them and keep cycling through so you can keep playing more and more of them. And, God forbid, you look at Kuhn the Forgotten King as the legendary here. Just gain 10 armor or just play all of the Jade Golems if you somehow have room in your hand.
Oh.
I'm pretty sure that also works with the Innervate, right? Like you Innervate, Kuhn,
refresh,
gain 14, or you need to spend the 4 mana first. So it's like, I don't know, Innervate, swipe, Kuhn, 14 mana.
I don't think you can Innervate. You can't go past 10. I don't think you can do that.
Yeah, I don't think
it doesn't
so
either. If you Innervate on full mana, nothing happens. If you Wild Growth on full, no, you do not. I can guarantee that. If you Wild Growth on full mana, you get excess mana, but you don't get it for Innervate because Blizzard hates you.
Oh.
Any new player.
Turn 6 then. Turn 6. Innervate, Kuhn, 10 mana open, and I have Kuhn in play. Eat me.
7/7, draw 3 more cards, get a whole bunch of Jade Golems, and your opponent just surrenders on the spot. That's where this comes into play. And don't forget, there are some things, I'm not as high on things like, for example, Pilfered Power. I don't think it's necessarily going to be as good. I think it's, you need to flood the board, which is the opposite of what you want to do. But at the same time, Lunar Visions might work. If we're really going to go all in on the Jade Idol, I want to draw 2 cards. I'm willing to draw a whole bunch of cards if I'm playing a Jade Idol deck that's going to summon more of these Jade Golems. And talking about before, right? We talk about I wouldn't want to play a Jade Spirit for 4 mana. Would you play it for 2 mana? You'd absolutely play it for 2 mana. And you could get
there
it for 2 mana if you get it from Lunar Visions. Or you could get, any other minion that you draw. You get a Jade Behemoth, for example, a 3/6 taunt. Is that great for, with a Jade Golem? Maybe not. But for 4 mana, getting a 3/6 that, then summons a Jade Golem. Suddenly, a lot of these things synergize well. So I don't know that Lunar Visions is going to see play, but especially if Jade Golems are great, and we agree that Jade Idol is great, we're going to need to get to those Jade Idols as quickly as possible so we can summon as many Jade Golems as possible, which means card draw is going to be incredibly important. And there are a lot of ways to get cards now with this new deck. So
Chase, I remember you saying something about Vermin Sensei earlier.
Fuck this card.
Is that the card, by the way? Is that the card?
No, there's one card that's worse, and we're getting to it. And
awesome.
It is. Look, here's the thing about Druid, right? We can agree that Beast Druid doesn't work at this point. Every expansion, they're like, oh, well, Menagerie Warden, you Menagerie Warden into a Shadowthorn Tiger, Stranglethorn Tiger, and you get all of this, you get, 10 stats for 6, and one of them stealth, and isn't that great? And I played it, and the answer is no, it's not that good.
I don't know. Beast Druid was pretty messed up.
It's not nearly as good as Mali Druid.
It wasn't consistent, but
or Token Druid.
That deck was pretty messed up.
But it's so inconsistent, and the problem is if you're playing from behind against any sort of aggro, getting another Stranglethorn Tiger does nothing for you. You've already lost.
Well, and that's why the deck's not played, but...
Yeah, and Vermin Sensei is the thing you're going to try to do to make it better? Oh, give a friendly beast +2/+2. Okay, well, first of all, I'm getting a body. It's a 4/5. It's a Chillwind Yeti, which isn't played for 1 more mana. So then I'm getting a beast +2/+2. Let me remind people that Menagerie Warden is a card that exists for 5 mana, is a 4/4, and gives beasts, dragons, and a Murloc +2/+2, and it's not played. So you have a much higher ceiling for the card, and it's in a deck like, again, we're talking about card draw. Azure Drake will be in all the Druid decks, as it continues to be, and you still wouldn't play Vermin Sensei. I like a Menagerie Magician. And so why in the world would you ever play Vermin Sensei when it's a worse version of that? It makes my head explode.
Arena. It's an arena print.
Sure. Fine.
I won't talk too much about Druid since I said a lot about Mage, and I guess that because of Vermin Sensei, you get to have an equal amount of hate towards Druid for my love of Mage.
It's not hate towards Druid. I love everything else they're doing. I love Ramp Druid's going to continue to be great. Mali Druid's going to continue to be great. This Jade Golem, I think, is going to be a good deck. I think that will be a very good deck.
Yeah.
I don't think you need Beast Druid to be a good deck for Druids to be in a very good place. That's why I don't have this as the worst card of the set. I just think, I just don't see why it exists. Celestial Dreamer is a great example of a card I don't think is very good, but I can totally see why it was printed.
Yeah, that's totally an arena card.
Yeah, that's an arena card. Vermin Sensei, getting the beast synergy that you want in arena isn't as reliable as you would want an arena card to be. And if you're playing a 5-mana 4/5 in arena, you're probably losing that game. So I don't like that card at all. But it's not my least favorite card. We're about to talk about my least favorite.
Oh, one second. Go ahead. Lunar Visions. It's a draw spell at 5 mana that competes with Nourish. Rip. Jade Idol, totally messed up. 1 mana, win all games against Control Warrior that are inevitably going to go to Fatigue because that's their main way of winning the game. Also, I don't know, you go to 0 cards in your deck and you're just have a Gadgetzan Auctioneer, Jade Idol, make 3 copies, Innervate, draw a card, and just go off with Jade Idols. I don't know. I think the card's disgusting, and it's a common, so expect to see a lot of it.
It's a rare Jade Idol, actually, but it's
really?
not. That's not going to change the fact that we're going to see it.
Okay, the list I'm looking at shows it at common.
Yeah, it's a rare.
Okay.
Yeah, it was originally teased as a rare, and then they as a common, and then they realized it was a
it was broken.
It was a mistake. They just printed it from an earlier version of the card because they realized that that was maybe
they knew it was too messed up in arena to be common.
Yeah, that would have been a very bad thing for arena.
Okay, let's hop on the segue.
What's wrong with Rogue?
A lot. So much.
Well, what's the biggest issue with Rogue?
They decided midstream that they were gonna push a stealth, that like they were gonna suddenly be like, hey, you know what? We're gonna make Priest Dragon. We have no idea what to do with their class fantasy, but rogues all in on the stealth.
Is this all in on stealth? I don't think they're all in on anything. I think they've changed their mind on Rogue literally every expansion for the last 2 years. Like
they
first,
have 4 cards. They have 4 cards in their class cards. They have 4 cards with stealth and 1 card that benefits stealth. They're trying to push stealth as the rogue mechanic.
Yeah, but it's too late for that. There's no support from any set previous to this.
I didn't say you were wrong.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't, like, what needed help, right? Like, Pirate, first it was Pirate Rogue, right? They kept printing Pirate Rogue cards, and they still printed a Pirate Rogue card in this set, and for the record, it's not good. Because you need to have a 3-attack, weapon, and we don't really get those anymore, because people don't focus on weapon buffs, because they killed Blade Flurry, which is the only...
Also, Rogue doesn't have a good weapon. Like, that's what they needed. They needed a good weapon.
So they're not the weapon class either. I mean, I suppose someone is out there saying, like, oh, but what about, they got some... Did they not get any weapon?
No, they got literally zero weapons.
They got literally zero weapons.
Nobody except Warrior. Nobody but Warrior got a weapon. Oh, Piranha Cannon. But
Piranha Cannon.
Yeah, Piranha Launcher for the Hunter. But look, so then I was like, okay, so you know what? Rogues burgle. Let's burgle things. That's great. And so Shaku the Collector, I guess, is their attempt to continue that. But like, I've played Burgle Rogue, and the problem with Burgle Rogue is
consistency.
It's consistency, yeah, because you're stealing random cards, and it's not even cards from your opponent's deck. It's just random cards from their class. So when you win,
information, they're not good. They're generally not good cards.
Yeah, there's a lot more bad cards for these classes. I mean, class cards tend to be better than neutral cards, but yeah, you get a Shatter, and suddenly you're like, why do I play this stupid deck? Like, why do I do this to myself? And you get things like the Ethereal Peddlers, like, it just doesn't do enough.
It doesn't work. It's like when you played like the Mind Steal Priest deck against like Oil Rogue, and you take their Tinker Sharpsword, and it's like, great, I know you're on Oil Rogue. Now I have this useless 4-mana spell in my hand for rip. Actually, no, not even that, because you could combo it. You could combo it and still give your creature a buff.
And we've gotten no card since then that has even come close to, dealing with what the hole that Sharpsword left behind. Like that, like Oil Rogue existed and was a positive thing for the record. We mostly agree on that. That was a fun card. It was a fun deck. The face damage was a little bit insane, but it gave rogues like a really nice way of pumping themselves up so they could actually compete with the board or get that one massive hit on the face. And they have yet to print anything that even remotely comes close. And while Undercity Huckster, look, as a Death Rattle, you combo with Unearthed Raptor, like getting opponent's cards, like that's fine, but you're having to combo all these things. And for the record, wasn't Rogue a class that had a keyword called combo at one point? There's one card in this entire set.
They still do.
Yeah, Jade Shuriken, which is rubbish. It's a rubbish card and should feel bad.
Gadgetzan Ferryman, that has combo in it.
Oh God, and that card. Okay,
is this the card? Did I just trigger? Is this the trigger warning?
This is the second worst card in the set. It's the second worst card.
What's the worst?
Shadow Rager.
Whoa! Hold on. Back off the Shadow Rager. He's better than any other Rager we've seen so far.
Yeah, the group of cards that have become such memes in the Hearthstone community that I'm convinced that's the only reason the Team 5 is still printing them. People complained about Magma Raid.
And it's a class card.
It's a class card! It's a freaking class card! It's like, look, they were so pissed off at people talking about power creep with Ice Rager that they released Agam Rager, which is Magma Rager backwards, as a 1/5, just to screw with people. And now they're like, who needs to help Rogue? It's not like they're in a crisis with their class and desperately need something other than Miracle, which you just can't count on from a consistency point of view. And everyone's played against so many times that they just know how to beat it on a regular basis. Fuck it, Shadow Rager. Let's just go. Keep memes alive.
It has stealth. It has stealth.
Right, and if it wasn't for Arcane Missiles, Flame Waker, literally any AoE of which there was a ton printed in this set,
Maelstrom Portal,
then it would be a deal 5 damage that can immediately be pinged off or dealt with by literally anything. It's so bad. It's so bad. And Gadgetzan Ferryman, you can combo it with your Shadow Ranger, so that you get a 2/3 for whatever. And it's one of those things where it's like, look, okay, I understand the idea of like bringing things back to my hand. That has value. It's not like Youthful Brewmaster's being run in Rogue. It's not like the Ancient Brewmaster's being run in Rogue. Like, what are you running? Yeah, I mean, Shadow Step exists. Why do you need Gadgetzan Ferryman? What does that do that the other cards don't? And you need to combo it, so it's not even like a 2/3 do the thing I want. I have to play another card to do the thing that isn't good enough to currently exist in the deck. And it doesn't even give a cost reduction, which would slightly justify it. Because if you play a rogue.
It sounds like a rogue player.
It's okay. It's okay. Vent man, preach, because the priests are too busy losing their minds to the old gods.
Coin is the best card in this set. I want you to think about that. If you're a rogue player, the best card in this entire fucking set is a coin that you can put in your deck on purpose. That is the best card because it's a miracle enabler and it allows you to combo out something on turn 2 or turn 3 with reliability. And the rogue is the only class that does better with the coin than without it. So now you can actually just have a coin alongside the other coin you'll get half of the time. That is the most exciting thing in the deck. And when the most exciting thing in a release for an entire class, a class that, by the way, does not have a deck that has ever escaped tier 3 since Whisper of the Old Gods came out, you fucked up. That's fucked up.
I love at the beginning of the Shadow Ranger comment, he went frickin', and then he just devolved into just F-bombs every other word.
Which is weird because among my friends, I'm always memed as the salty one. Look, you are totally right. Like, they tried so many times to be like, let's find a way to give Rogue the coin without actually giving them the coin. We have Cut Purse. We have the one from League of Explorers with Death Rattle. Get a coin. Screw it. Just have give the coin. Enough of the jumps. Enough of the hoops. We can't make it good enough. Just have the coin. Have your reliable way to enable combo without needing to backstab your own minions. We get it. Rogue's in a bad spot. They do in fact get to be priest, a class devoid of basically anything good or any identity, being dragged in a million different directions. Yeah. It happens. Well, this is Blizzard balance. Unfortunately, this is Rogue is just the next. Rogue and Paladin is on the downswing.
There will always be a weakest class. Team 5, when asked a month ago, or actually before Karazhan, about the state of Priest. That was their quote. There will always be a weakest class.
Now, who is it?
It doesn't have to be this big of a gap, guys. It really doesn't. I promise you.
Ben, bro, can we please get, as masterfully crafted a YouTube video about all of Rogue that we did about Purify, please? Yeah. I'd like to see that.
I want to hear why you printed Shadow Ranger. This is an open invitation. Ben Brode, if you're listening,
we ran out of ideas.
You are welcome to the pod, Ben Brode. Or send anyone you want. Send Ixar. Send anyone you want from the Hearthstone team. And tell me why you printed Shadow Ranger other than there were a lot of drugs and alcohol involved. That I would get. That I would understand. But outside of that, I would love to hear a reason, because there's no way that they looked at this and they said to themselves, you know how we're going to fix Rogue? I got it so hard. We're going to have Shadow Ranger into Shadow Sensei, so on 7 mana, they get a 7/3 and a 4/4. That does nothing to affect the current board state. There's no way that was your plan. And if that is your plan, who were you playtesting against? What deck allowed you to get away with that combo and say, ooh, this could be
You know what deck it was? Bots. It was a rogue deck.
It's another rogue deck.
It was another rogue deck.
It was another rogue deck. Perfect. Look, and to be perfectly honest, even if it's just like shrug shoulders, we don't know what to do with rogue right now. That honestly, at this point, that's perfectly acceptable. Fine, if you really needed to print Shadow Rager as a rogue class card, as some sort of like odd balancing point, or even just we needed a body to shove in here and Shadow Rager fit, air quotes, or like the League of Legends thing where it's just like we have no idea what to do with this thing, so we're just gonna we're gonna counterfeit coin eviscerate it. Meme.
I just can't wait.
So that way nobody plays this class, but we figure out what the heck we're doing.
We Olaf them. That's what it's called in the league. We
Olaf Evelyn Poppied them.
Do we get one of these for every class now? Like at one point, are we gonna have like a magical rager where it's a 5/1 with +1 spell power? Yeah, arcane rager. Or a.
They already did ice rager.
A holy rager where you draw a card every time you heal, but it's a 5/1 so you can never heal it.
That's what it should be called.
Righteous rager. I mean, it
should have a guitar and
we need to move on.
I
can't do this anymore. I'll say this. This
remember,
is my last point.
Just pray at the altar of sap and remember it's gonna be okay.
just remember that when over a year ago, Team 5 nerfed Blade Flurry to 4 mana and to target only minions, they did it because, and I quote, "We want to open up opportunities for Rogue to be more of a weapon class, and this kind of damage prevented us from doing so." They didn't even get a weapon this time, and the only thing I can think of that was a weapon that's been printed since then was that fork thing that they dared to pass off as a card.
Can I just say that, like,
the fork was pretty cool though. The fork was a nice. The fork was a nice shot.
3-mana 3/2 weapon as a death rattle, a 3-mana 3/2.
If it was a 2/2 weapon that equipped automatically.
Sure.
See,
that would be like that would be a slightly better armor.
I have to say that the rogue set here disappoints me because the mythos and the lore that they're creating in Mean Streets of Gadgetzan like fits perfectly with a goddamn rogue.
Shank.
Like,
wait, why isn't there a card called Shank?
Yeah, a shank. You literally could have made like a shank. Like you could have made a better dagger and just been like, here you go, it's a shank.
Maybe they didn't think. Maybe they didn't think that.
You could have made like 40 different weapons.
Enough.
They could have.
No, that's just rogues being rogues. Of course, a rogue's gonna shank you.
Yeah, look, we already had like rogues.
That's all they do.
So we can't do that, but like. I'm not asking for drop the soap card. I'm just asking for something that feels thematic with what should be a criminal class.
You get Jade Shuriken. That's your weapon card. It's Jade Shuriken.
We could have gotten so much. We could have gotten so much pirate tribal here.
Oh my god.
Because pirates were the gangsters of the Seven Seas, and we have, and like, sure, it's not like the 1920s-y theme that you're trying to fit with Mean Streets of Gadgetzan. But it totally fits within the Warcraft lore. If you want gangsters of,
Jade
if you want
totally fits in.
We made
Chinese pirates,
like it's
and everything, all possibilities.
Like the Jade aspect totally would fit in with like a Chinese. I'm thinking Pirates of the Caribbean style, but like that totally fits in with that kind of like Chinese piratry. Like,
and this is what I remind you guys. Just in case you were holding out hope that Jade Rogue might be a thing. They only have 2 cards that activate Jade Golem effects in Rogue, which is 1 fewer than each of the other classes.
Right.
And one of them is Jade Shuriken, which only does it if you combo it.
Yeah, see, I'm not saying that's what's likely. I'm just saying.
In the class that even allow you to do the thing that might be a saving grace as another identity. How did you not come up with a 3rd Jade card for Rogue? What were you doing in playtesting that said, no, Rogues can't be
Shadow Ranger.
I mean.
Oh, but don't worry though.
Unearthed Raptor technically gets there.
You got Lotus Assassin, which is a worse version of Stranglethorn Tiger. So we got that going for us.
Okay, we need to move on. Rogue is the worst class. That's what we're coming up to. So we're moving to the best class now, right? Shaman? Is Shaman the best class?
I mean, Shaman hasn't lost anything, so...
Yes.
I don't think that we've gotten any... I don't think that we've gotten anything, like, super good that like hard answers the problems of Shaman. I mean, the dream would be Polymorph Potion, and then there's like just the repeated Doomhammer blows to the head and being the most broken class for a long time.
Yeah.
Just makes them play their 4-mana 7/7 into that, and they're like, oh, huh.
Yeah, I mean, mid-range already. At this point, like, I don't even think my version of mid-range runs Doomhammer. Like, that's how refined that deck has become.
Hammer's not played anymore, but like
it's such a I mean it's tough, you know, because they can always just feral spirits, and then it's like, oh well, then I guess that didn't do anything. I mean, look, I like the fact that in this set, mid-range Shaman didn't get any new weapons. There's nothing in here that I saw that I would say, oh, mid-range Shaman is totally playing this thing. Maybe White Eyes, because I just think White Eyes is a really good card. Though if you're playing 0-mana 5/5 taunts, I don't know if a 5-mana 5/5 taunt is going to be considered too slow for what they're trying to do.
Wait, what's a 0-mana 5/5 taunt?
Thing from below.
Oh, duh.
Get memed, bro. Get memed.
Shit.
But I mean, honestly, like, you know, that might be it. But everything else they printed, like, they're more control oriented, which is great, because with Halazil the Ascended, I would love to see some control Shaman. I would love to see, you know, Healing Wave be a viable thing. I would love to see, you know, White Eyes, the whole idea of, you know, a 5/5 with taunt, giving you a 10/10, a 5-mana 10/10 with taunt into your deck is a really interesting idea as far as holding off, you know, as a control idea goes. I love Devolve just from
that's an amazing theming
card.
Oh.
You know what? Devolve
so
is going to be a card. It's either going to be useless or not as good as people think, and people are going to be like, oh man, we got so hyped for nothing. Or it's going to be Yogg-Saron levels of broken, and everyone's going to hate it.
I think that's... Shaman's not going to play Devolve, but you're going to hit Devolve off of a Yogg, and you're going to be like, yeah, money!
Yeah.
It's not a card that you ever want in your deck. But like, if it pops up randomly through like Yogg or
Discover.
some other, Discover, you're probably not gonna. Speaking of Discover, dude, Finders Keepers, you might not be playing Doomhammer in your deck, but with Finders Keeper, you're playing Doomhammer in your deck.
That is
there's a lot of really good Overload cards, and Finders Keepers is gonna hit all of them. 4-mana 7/7, nailed it. Totem Golem, that's still around for a while. Nailed it. Doomhammer, nailed it. Bolt, nailed it. Lava Burst, nailed it.
Feral Wolves?
Sure, why? Feral Spirits, nailed it. Jade Claws, sure, why not?
Yeah. It's really...
Jinyu Water Speaker, pass.
I mean, look, I like Jinyu Water Speaker in a control deck. I mean, healing 6 health. If you have the 10/10 taunt, you get to heal 6 health on that. You get to restore 6 health to yourself, potentially. I mean, I definitely think there's room for it. But it's got to be a control. Same thing with Jade Chieftain, you know, where you get the, you know, you summon a Jade Golem, give it taunt. It needs to be a good enough one. And, you know, this is the weapon we forgot, the Jade Claws, which I don't know if they're good enough. But, again, that's something you can get off of Finders Keepers. Jade Lightning seems to do, you know, that's just hard removal.
You play the Jade Claws in the Jade deck because the Jade deck is slow. Like, the Jade Shaman is slow. Jade Shaman's slow, and Jade Claws is how you keep control of the enemy, of the opponent's early drops. Like, you play, if you're on the play, or hell, even on the draw, you have the coin. You coin this out on 2, and you just like kill their 1-drop, kill their 2-drop. That's good enough, and you have a 1/1 of your own, so it's not like the Overload 1 kills you. It hurts, especially early, but you don't want to play this late.
Yeah.
So you get your first Jade Golem, and then you Jade Lightning them on 4, and like you've killed something spooky with Jade Lightning. Now you have a 2/2 minion, which like again still isn't great on 4, but whatever, we're getting there. You have like maybe another Jade Lightning on 5 or something. Or
you play White Eyes to stall. You get the Storm Guardian scale. You know, stalls harder. You get your Aya Blackpaw, and suddenly you're just, the Jade Golems start going off. And you can, and by the way, there are several. Yeah, I mean, and you can discover Finders Keepers. You can discover the Jade Claws, so you can keep getting more Jade Claws and keep getting more Jade Golems, and that's
That's I think a stretch to rely on Finders Keepers to get you Jade Claws to keep
Finders Keepers into Finders Keepers into Finders Keepers, so your Tunnel Trog gets super buffed.
Fuck.
And you just
yeah, let's talk.
It's Raven Idol all over again in the sense of like just repeating itself.
Craft your Fandral now. Get that Jade Idol. Get that Jade Idol value.
Oh my god.
Speaking of value though, turn 7 call in the finishers.
Oh my god! I just realized Jade Idol. I did not think about that synergy.
What?
Oh, that's broken as all hell.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Yeah, go back to your late game top deck mode now.
Oh no. Oh god.
Yes. What part of this card is messed up didn't you understand?
I mean, you've got to save Fandral for longer than you usually do, but holy crap.
By the way, we're back on Druid. Calling the finishers into anything can happen. No, not anything can happen. Every fin is awesome. I don't know, 7 mana, you have 4 3/3s.
I actually like it more as a tech to stop Murloc Paladin. How funny would that be? But yeah, I mean, I don't think we're gonna see. What do you
mean it's tech to stop? What do you mean it's tech to stop?
Because if you get 4 1/1s, then they bring those back instead of their Bluegills and their War Leaders, and then suddenly they don't have the damage.
It's
any Murloc that dies.
Oh.
There was a great clip of it yesterday where Crip used the Discover to get... He somehow got the Vilefin Inquisitor, the one that turns your Battle Cry into 1/1 Murlocs. Mm-hmm. And so when the Anyfin Paladin played the anything...
He just got a bunch of... They got
a whole bunch of the 1/1s and immediately surrendered. It was amazing.
Because that's how they win. That's how they win. That's another deck where, like, if you can somehow not get completely shit on by the anything can happen thing, like, just looping Jade Idols and be like, okay, sure, here's a 1/1. Okay, now here's a 2/2. Okay, I gotta make more. Oh, here's a 3/3, 4/4, 5/5, 6/6, 7/7. Like, I think that Grinder Druid is gonna be a thing where you're just like, I'm gonna 1-for-1 you this entire game, like, get a huge swipe, and that's where, like, I find the space to fit in this stupid loop of just, like, I have no cards that matter, you have no cards that matter, none of us have any cards in our deck, except I continue to have cards in my deck, so you're just gonna... First of all, you're just gonna fatigue out eventually, and then, to speed it up, here, have a 1/1, a 2/2, a 3/3, a 4/4, a 5/5, a 6/6, a 7/7, die!
Yeah, that's... I mean... It's in play. And that, I think, it tells you everything we have to say about Shaman, that we're already moved back to Druid.
They didn't get anything they didn't need.
Yeah, they didn't get anything that would make it more oppressive. When things rotate out, mid-range Shaman will no longer be as huge of a deal. Whether Jade control Shaman becomes better than mid-range Shaman, I doubt it. But I think we will now at least have an alternative. I think it will create...
And it distracts people from playing mid-range Shaman. That's what we need to do. Distract the Shaman.
I think Control Shaman can
have
totally...
some fun.
I think Control Shaman could absolutely decimate mid-range Shaman.
Yeah.
If you look at that matchup. Because you just let the thing from belows and everything go down and then devolve everything. Like, you could... There is a Control Shaman that completely...
No, but the thing is, though, is that thing from below is still treated as like a 6-drop or whatever.
Yeah.
Like so they get a random 5-drop.
The average 5-drop is worse than a 5/5 with taunt.
Fair. I'm trying to think of like every single 5-drop.
If you're a controlled, I mean, that's someone will do the numbers, and we'll see what happens as people, they only do the numbers on these things once people actually see the cards see play. So we're certainly going to see a lot, but we have some neutral cards to get to before we wrap up what has been a much longer segment than
favorite name
intended.
My favorite name in the entire set, Patches the Pirate. I love that.
Hey, remember how we said that Rogue needed Pirate to be pushed?
Ooh!
Like Patches the Pirate at first blush, you're like, oh my god, you get a 1/1, you get this minion out of your deck, you play it for free, it has charge, that's so good, and then you realize it's a Stone Tusk Boar.
Yeah.
That pushes a very poorly pushed strat. Like,
here's what it is.
The thing to remember is that it's a 1/1 buff on a secondary body that you can use to kill their 1-drop.
It's very true. Also, in top 2 brawl, it's going to be broken as all hell.
With what?
With anything. You get 7 1/1s on turn 1.
And then your opponent's playing Maelstrom Portal, and you're just like, oh.
Who plays Maelstrom Portal in top 2 brawl?
I mean, I will now since you said that.
If I'm running into mass patches, I will.
That's fair. I mean, look, I think that it's a card. It's a fun idea. I love the art. I love the concept of it.
It's a great card. I'm happy he exists.
Yeah, anything that thins your deck is fun. There aren't enough pirates. I mean, I guess the argument is like, oh, but it procs ship's cannon, and then you get the extra.
Oh my god!
Damage. Yeah, it's like okay.
Oh
sure.
wow! I totally forgot.
Yeah.
I got blinded by how bad the card is.
Oh wait, it makes this other really bad card okay.
Like I got so in on Jade Idol and Freezing Potion that I completely forgot about patches. Oh my, jeez.
Yeah, no, I think we'll survive somehow. I'm more excited. Auction Master Beardo, I think will be fun. That's a genuinely interesting card to me.
Say hello to Raza the Chain's new best friend.
Right? That's a free hero power every time, and you get to cast it after every single spell that you cast.
So either you played this, so either you have this going after Justicar True Heart's been played, and you're just immortal until Beardo is dealt with, or you play this Shadow Priest and you just kill people.
I was gonna say there's a version of this in which Warrior plays it and plays Maiden of the Lake after Justicar True Heart, and has 1 mana get 4 armor over and over and over again.
They'll pay their control warrior. They will pay 4 mana for 4 armor.
That's true. Yeah.
They will do it with a smile.
Yeah. This is gonna be interesting.
Sergeant Sally.
Kill me now.
Sergeant Sally,
You couldn't kill me before. Try doing so now. You know what? I'm gonna play this guy. I'm gonna shield slam. I'm gonna armor up, shield slam your dude, and armor up again just to BM you.
Yeah, that's about right. I love how Walter's trying desperately to move on to Sergeant Sally, and then we're like, no.
Because I think this is a terrible card.
No, I think she's great.
Did you forget the Grimy Goons exist?
Yeah, she's amazing. Look,
yeah,
I get like the hand holding aspect of it really like is decent with her, but like I don't know.
She's an arcane explosion tied to a body.
Yeah, the worst case scenario, 3 mana for a 2 mana spell and a 1/1 is totally reasonable. And any buff that you get, and she becomes crazy dangerous, especially because it's only enemy minions.
That's
so
fair.
You get a buff on Don Hancho, right? And now it's a 6/6. So it's a 3 mana 7. You get a 3 mana 6/6. Deal 6 damage to all enemy minions when it dies. That's a so much better Chilma. And
it's on Death Rattle? I thought it was Battle Cry.
It's Death Rattle. It's Death Rattle.
So that which makes it a little bit. I mean, that's why you have a lot of like. There's a card that we're going to talk about in a little bit that silences Death Rattle cards, which I think is going to
not be
become a thing. I look, silence is valuable, man, especially in a meta like this. I think that it's very possible.
Sometimes I think that they forget that they like to meme that silence is the priest thing, because it's the priest spell, both in Hearthstone and then
they make something like Iron Beak Owl, right? Like,
yeah.
No, not even that. Then they have like a brain aneurysm and like make a meme, and then priests have to deal with Cabal Song Stealer as being one of their class cards.
Yeah.
But I digress because I don't want to derail us too much. Like we do need to move on.
But we agree that Sergeant Sally is going to be good.
Okay. Fair enough.
Wrathion has been interesting.
Speaking of trolling videos, like Kriparian already tweeted this, but like there is going to be a highlight video of somebody just milling half their deck, like of a Dragon Priest or Dragon Paladin in my case, because I don't like Dragon Priest. But Dragon Paladin, give me that 5/5 with a discount. Anyways,
that's fair.
Again, I digress. But somebody's gonna mill half their deck because they just like hit, oh my god! Somebody's gonna have Chromagus out. They're gonna play this, and they're gonna get like 2 Twilight Whelps, like 2 Azure Drakes, and then they're just gonna mill like Ysera, what's his name? Netharian, who's broken. Deathwing Dragon Lord, and it's just gonna be an auto concede. I don't care. I could be BMing you, and I'm just gonna concede. I can't.
Yeah, it's it's one of those things, right? It's a 4/5 with taunt, so that would stat wise, it's like 4.5 mana value there. So if you're drawing fewer than 2 cards, you're probably not getting the value that you want. But if you're drawing more than 2 cards, you're very much in danger of milling yourself, especially because dragon decks tend to be slower. So it's a very precarious balance for Wrathion to be valuable. And
Rathion's
maybe
a very precarious guy.
Yeah.
Like 1 second he's on the Horde side, 1 second he's on the Alliance's side. Next thing he's causing Warlords of Draenor to happen, which for which he should be arrested as a war criminal.
Yeah, that seems fair. I don't know a lot, but that sounds right, so I'll agree with you.
He made the entire expansion of Warlords of Draenor happen. He needs to die every single time. I don't care if he's bad.
So
like literally, my opponents will play him, and I will kill him immediately just for making WoD happen.
Fair enough.
So you're talking about the minion that silences Death Rattle minions and Defius Cleaner.
That's the one I was thinking is going to see more play than people think. It's a
Defius
5/7
Cleaner?
for 6. Yeah, well, look, it fits in the Toshli role, right? Toshli, when back in the GVG days, it was a 5/7 for 6 with Battlecry and Death Rattle to get a spare part. So if Toshli was good enough to see play,
because think about what the spare parts did.
Yeah, but
what they enabled, what they allowed.
But silence right now is so think about the cards that have silence, right? Ironbeak Owl, 3 mana 2/1. That's terrible stats.
Rip.
You look at Spellbreaker, 4 mana 4/3. We're getting there, but it's still subpar. Silence is valued very highly. Defias Cleaner is a 6 mana 5/7. That's the first time that we've at least seen an average, health plus.
But it's only for Death Rattle.
Attack.
It's only on Death Rattle.
But the things that you're most afraid of, that you want to silence, Death Rattles are the scariest ones. That's silencing a Tyrion. That's silencing the Sergeant
Sylvanas.
Sally. That's silencing Sylvanas. That's silencing
on curve. They play Sylvanas. You play Defias Cleaner.
Actually, I mean, ideally, if the enemy plays Sylvanas, you're playing Bomb Squad onto an empty board. That's the dream right there. I put that on totally for the meme because I want to pull that combo off so badly.
Noxious.
Bomb Squad.
Thanks, Noxious.
Look, deal 5 damage to an enemy minion is very valuable. That's always going to have value.
Yep.
5 mana 2/2. I mean, the body's not great, but you get a body with it, so that's something. You're always going to,
you don't want to have a body because, like Noxious said in his review of the card, this is first of all, it's tech against Sylvanas. Obviously, you live the dream or some kind of dream where you bomb squad Sylvanas, regardless of whether or not it's on an empty board or 1 in 7 chance. Sylvanas takes the bomb squad, you kill the bomb squad, and then you've 2-for-1 them for 5 mana plus
and done 5 damage. Yeah.
Yeah, and you 2-for-1 them. That's great. The other thing that he theorized, I mean, also somebody mind visions you and then they get a bomb squad and they're like, oh, I guess I kill your thing, but then I take 5 damage.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, you're a priest, so I guess it's worth. But anyways, the other thing that he theorized was that there's going to be more, not mind control effects, but actually there's going to be a donate effect. Here, take my minion. I do not require this thing. Have my bomb squad. By the way, she blows up. Might want to watch for that.
I like the idea of there's the card, I forget what the name is off the top of my head. It's the one that brings out a minion from the opponent's hand. Dirty Rat.
Yeah, Dirty Rat.
Dirty Rat
Yank
is
their bomb
the
squad.
hard counter to Bomb Squad. That's the Dirty Rat dream. I didn't talk about it because I think it's a worse Death Lord. And I think it has the potential to go really badly really quickly.
Hi, Malagos. Imagine seeing you here.
Yeah, that would be bad. But if you get rid of a Battle Cry, then suddenly that looks really good.
Like Defias Cleaner.
Yeah, like Defias Cleaner, like Doppelgangster, which is the other one I want to talk about. Is Doppelgangster.
Don Honcho Dream.
Yeah, that's going in every Grimy Goons deck. That and I think Sergeant Sally are going to go in every Grimy Goons deck.
And if you're a hunter, Rat Pack.
Yeah, and if you're a hunter, Rat Pack, and screw it because neither of them are beasts. And then, of course, Mistress of Mixtures is going to I think that's going to be the most powerful common in the set. Because it's like Zombie Chow, but better,
The 1 health matters. The 1 health matters. I had the same exact thought.
But it's 1 health back to you, too. So
it's
you
4
get
health back to you.
Yeah, 4 health back to you, which is better than the 0 health back to you that Zombie Chow gave you, and you still have a 2/2 on turn 1.
Yeah, but I mean, most played 1-drops in the game are gonna eat the Mistress of Mixtures. The reason why Zombie Chow was so widely played and so, I'll say oppressive. It wasn't like, no, yeah, it was oppressive. Like every single turn one, Zombie Chow. It's because it had
wild. I know.
It had that third health. It ate your 1-drop, and then it ate your 2-drop. Yes. And then, like, sure, you have 5 health, but whatever. I'm a slow deck, and you're at 30 anyways. Like, I totally killed you in card advantage.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna kill you eventually anyways.
If you could trade up into a 3/2, if your opponent doesn't have a 1-drop.
If your opponent plays a 3/2 into this, or like a 1 Zombie Chow, they deserve to lose every game they ever play.
That's fair. I don't know. I think that it can fit in a lot of anti-aggro decks just because there will be, think about, for example, we talked about the Grime Street Outfitter earlier, right? That's a 1/1 that buffs all the cards. You can kill that with this and still have the ability to deal with, maybe some of those smaller 1-mana cards that got buffed from it. And worst case scenario, you take some damage from those buffed cards, well, you can heal a bit of it back to you. I think there's a place for it. I'm not sure if it'll be, I don't think it'll be in every deck, but I think if you want an early drop in a control deck, I think you could do a heck of a lot worse.
You're totally correct. I'm actually making like the Courser of Crucifix fallacy. Like when that was spoiled, Magic MTG card, when that was spoiled in Theros block, everyone was like, oh, this is a strictly worse version of Oracle of Moldiah. Well, guess what? Oracle of Moldiah wasn't in rotation. Courser of Crucifix is. This is a card we have to deal with. So
exactly.
is Mistress of Mixtures Zombie Chow? Never. But is she close? Close enough.
Yeah. And that's really what it comes down to at the end of the day. So I guess now that we've talked about all these things, there's only one question left to ask. How excited are you to open up the packs tomorrow?
I live in a Bills family.
Yes.
I lucked into being a
No way! Fan. No.
That's never come up on the
podcast. Yeah, I don't think anybody knows I'm a Buffalo Bills fan. Yeah, that's incredible.
Walter's a Bills fan. When I was 6, I picked up a Drew Bledsoe rookie card. I'm like, I'm gonna root for this guy's team.
He was rooting for the Patriots when they were bad. Like,
anyways.
I hate on bandwagon fans. He's the one bandwagon fan I can't because he had to deal with Drew Bledsoe being the quarterback.
And then you did. Eat it. Anyways, but I'm also a Bills fan. Like I hopped on the community memeing about the disappointment. It all fits into my personality. It's great. Yeah. So I'm ready. I'm excited. I guarantee in all 50 packs I'm never going to get a single legendary, and that's going to hurt. But
yeah, if I'm not able to craft Kazakus at the end of the day, I'm going to be very frustrated. That's really my only goal.
I don't watch the Bills, so opening packs is how I get my disappointment.
That's so fair. This is what I have that problem, and I have this every time the new expansion hits, right? Where I want to experiment with cards, but I don't want to waste 1,600 dust to find out that a card is crap. So I don't want to build anything yet until other people figure out what's good. But it just means that the people that figure out what's good are going to kick my ass for a week. And that's going to suck.
Just play Mid-Range Shaman. Mid-Range Shaman's not getting any worse.
That's true. Everyone else is going to be experimenting, and my decks are still going to be...
That's why I'm an aggro player in Magic. Because, like, set rotates, everyone's like, what's good? I'm like, I don't know, direct damage to face. Eat me.
Lightning bolt. Lightning bolt. Yeah. No, that's what
I've done that to somebody. I've triple bolted somebody once at end of turn.
That's pretty mean and also
well.
But
that being said, that is a podcast. That is almost 2 hours of Hearthstone talk.
Yeah.
Because that is exactly what I expected out of this podcast, putting my 2 favorite trading card game players together.
Yeah. This is one of those things. I made a joke about going behind the curtain earlier. Our goal for this was 40 minutes. That was our goal. We're terrible at judging.
At 40 minutes, we were still talking about the first gang. Let's be honest.
You said 40 minutes, and I just didn't have the heart to tell you that it was.
You said 3 pages of notes.
But here's the thing. All of you guys were hopefully listening to this as you were opening your packs, or you heard this and then decided now is the time to open packs.
Yeah. You might just have to segment this off and hope.
I can't cut anything from this. This was really good conversation. Like,
well, no.
Anything I cut from this.
I know that you
just...
can't. I know that
cut like one gang at a time. We'll figure something out. But
Yeah,
the most important thing
but
is
you might have to package this separately.
we should thank Alex for coming on the show. Whatever your name is now, BMNeavas?
At BMNeavas.
BMNeavas.
Neavas, that's what it is.
Neavas.
Perfect. So follow
Don't
him.
ask where that one came from.
Neavas. Follow him on the Twitters and all that. He's really appreciate having you on. Always fun to talk about card games with someone who's played as many of them as you have. And I'm sure that you'll be more than happy to answer people's questions if they want to ask you why their deck is so garbage and vice versa. So that'll always be fun. Obviously, you can also find me. I'm at RedShirtKing on Twitter. Walter, where can the nice people at home find you?
Yeah, I'm at Ceades_LOL. And as always, you can find the podcast on a variety of social media platforms. On Twitter, it's at Rough Drafts Pod. On SoundCloud and iTunes, it's look up the Rough Drafts Podcast. On Facebook, it's at Rough Drafts Pod. And YouTube, we're at 60 subscribers last time I checked. When we get to 100, we get our custom URL. So it's not some random mishmash of characters like it currently is. So, like, comment, subscribe. Am I memeing correct?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, look, if you like what we do, that's what you can do to help. Tell your friends, tell people. And we can do more of these kinds of things because we can't do them if people don't listen. And the fact that you guys have listened through 2 hours of this shows that you guys enjoyed it. So share it with your friends and you can all enjoy it together and it will be wonderful. And until then, I guess I will see you guys. I guess we'll all see you on the Hearthstone ladder. And until we do, goodbye, Internet.
Well fun.